Hey, it's Jason here, and I just want to point out the new Sena 50S, 50R Mesh 2.0 headsets from Sena Technologies. And I've got here a brand new 50S out of the box. The part number is a 50S-01, and this is brand new in October of 2020. I have also installed the Sena 50S utility from the Play Store for my Android phone. I've also used the Wi-Fi adapter, but right now what I'm doing is I have the USB cable that is out of the box from the headset, and I have the Sena 50S turned off, and I have downloaded from Sena's website the Sena Bluetooth Device Manager. This app is only available for Mac or Windows laptops. There is not a version for Android in the Play Store, so you can only find this on the Sena website. There's a 32-bit and a 64-bit version, and then you basically use this to install the firmware update on the Sena. So we're going to go through the process of installing it. So I've got a 50S, and this basically says make certain you use the supplied micro USB cable. Well, it's not a micro USB cable, it's a Type C. So it's a Type A, Type C. So there's already a lot of things in here that concern me that seem to be a little bit of a problem. But anyway, I've got a 50S. It tells me to make certain that it's off. It's off. Now we're going through the recognizing device. Device recognized successfully, ready for firmware. So I've got version 1.0. We're going to apply version 1.06. Should have some bug fixes. So it downloads it. I'm going to save it. I'm now going to let it do its thing. So it says on updating firmware, and it's at 2%, 3%. I will hear a couple beeps as it's connecting and disconnecting from the 50S. I'm not clear why it's, beeping and beeping, but in Device Manager, it also shows as a USB hub device. It doesn't really show as a Sena 50S. I'm not clear why. This is Windows 10 64-bit operating system. It does look like the device drivers are signed, so I'm not really thinking that there's any kind of problem with the device drivers and the signing of it. But what's going to happen here is it's going to go through this whole thing. It'll say that the firmware update's successful, and then when I come back into it, it still says that it's version 1.0. And it's going to repeat this whole process. And I've probably done this, I don't know, 15, 20 times in 2 days, just trying to see if I can get it to upgrade. But long story short, this Sena 50S utility is just not going to update this. As well as the Sena Wi-Fi adapter will not update it. And then I took this 50S headset over to a friend's house that does own another 50S. He's the one that talked me into getting this. And we used his MacBook Pro with a Sena USB cable that he used to update his 50S. And it didn't work on this model either. So I'm thinking this is a case for technical support, potentially an RMA, maybe the unit's defective, but it just will not upgrade from version 1.0 to 1.06. I have tried a bunch of other things. I've also tried upgrading it to like version 1.02 or 1.03, maybe an interim upgrade. At this point, I'm going to stop talking. We're just going to let it try its failure. We're watching the Sena 50S firmware update using the Sena Bluetooth Device Manager. It's kind of funny, we're not using Bluetooth, we're using USB. So I'm kind of curious why the app is called Sena Bluetooth Device Manager when I'm using a USB cable. So I just heard the beep from my laptop where it's disconnecting, reconnecting. Interesting to note, the 50S needs to be powered off to do this. Seems a little surprising. I would have thought maybe it needed to be on, but the device is off. You have to use the Sena USB cable that came with the device, is what I've been reading in the online forums. It doesn't seem to be published, but there is also a toll-free number for Sena support. They can do a Skype or a Google Hangout session with you to help troubleshoot it. So usually around 67-68%, this is going to kind of rapidly increase. And then where it says now on updating firmware, it's going to say like firmware update successful, but it's not. There's another beep. So we're watching a Sena 50S being upgraded from version 1.0 new out of the box using Windows version of Sena Bluetooth Device Manager. It's going to get to around 67%, and then I think it's going to skyrocket. It'll say that it's successful, but the device never upgrades. This is my probably 21st attempt. We're at 69%, updating version 1.0 to 1.06. And just flew to the end. A couple more beeps. New firmware is now available. Wait a minute. I thought we were just upgrading it. And now it says firmware update successful. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and upgrade it. Oh look, it's downloading it again. This is like Groundhog Day, over and over and over again. Alright, so now we're updating the firmware, we're at 2%. Alright, you're watching a live update of a Sena 50S headset. It is a 50S motorcycle Bluetooth communication system with mesh intercom. Part number 50S-01, model SP75, SP61, made in China. Support.sena.com for all your needs. Alright, this is the second attempt to update a 50S from version 1.0 to version 1.06. October 2020, a new Sena 50S headset. And you hear the beep, another beep. So what I don't see is a Sena 50S here. Alright, Sena 50S, new out of the box. We're using Sena Bluetooth Device Manager to upgrade it from version 1.0 to version 1.06. I've also tried version 1.02, version 1.03. It won't upgrade. It is stuck on version 1.0 forever. We've also attempted to use the Wi-Fi adapter to set it on auto, and it will not upgrade it. We've done a manual upgrade with the 50S utility and using the Wi-Fi adapter, and near the end it'll say the firmware update has stopped unexpectedly. Would you like to try again? Yes or no? Alright, we're at 65%. And we're at 70%. And boom, 100%. Oh. Look, new firmware is available. We're running 1.0. Let's upgrade to 1.6. Groundhog Day, over and over and over. Alright, we're updating the firmware from version 1.0 of the Sena 50S. Alright, you're watching the Sena 50S headset being updated from version 1.0 to version 1.06 using Windows 10 with the Sena Bluetooth Device Manager. Alright, you've been watching the new out-of-the-box Sena 50S headset. We're attempting to upgrade the firmware from version 1.0 to 1.06. It has failed twice. We're on our third attempt. And now it's asking me if I want to upgrade. So Groundhog Day, even though it says firmware updated successfully, it's still on 1.0. I can connect with Bluetooth to my phone, open the 50S utility. It says it's still on 1.0. It's just not upgrading. At this point, we'll open a tech case, potentially do an RMA.